You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio. Parasearch Radio, broadcasting to the UK and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to Kerry Greenaway and Mark Manley on the Dark Mirror Paranormal Show, only on Parasearch Radio.
Good evening and welcome to the Dark Mirror Paranormal Show. My name is Kerry Greenaway and I do apologise for that jingle. It was glitching all over the place. But tonight I'm joined in the studio by the usual cohorts. I have got my lovely Mark Manley.
Hello.
Oh dear, he's started already.
Hello.
And I've got the lovely Carl Hutchinson. Good evening, Carl.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, I see. Carl, is it? Are you staying up past your bedtime tonight?
I am. I'm had too much gin.
Too much gin already.
Oh God. Oh my God.
The boys of they have loved looking into this one, and we've come up with some batshit crazies for you. But first, Carl, please do claim for the Dark Mirror Show, because it is rather special, this particular show.
Yes, obviously the Dark Mirror Show. It's a Friday night show. It's a light-hearted look at various different subjects within the paranormal. So tonight's show is about the Djinn, and there are certain areas that we won't be covering. But please, it is just a light-hearted. We're not here to be a Salman Rushdie or anything like that. We're just here to have a laugh and discuss a subject which is very, very interesting. Thank you very much, and thank you for listening.
So tonight's topic is all about the Djinn. Now, the Djinn. This is it's not new because it's very ancient. The folklore of this has been around for absolutely hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years. But in regards to the paranormal community, people are putting this title on lots of things at the moment, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. It's Do you know what? We should just do that every time she fires a question to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just watch her go. Ah.
Yeah. We'll just be a couple of Churchill dolls going, yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
This is how it's going to go tonight, is it? She says, dropping her pen in
Oh,
disgust.
no.
So guys, this is like, let's go back to the question and have a little answer of it, shall we?
Well, the Djinn is basically, you ain't never had a friend like me. Boom. There you go.
Yeah, it's been flat. Like,
Aladdin! She
Kerry
didn't
said.
get that.
Didn't get that
She
at
didn't get
all.
it.
No, I didn't get it.
Borrowed brow. That's one of the songs for Aladdin.
I've never seen it.
Robin Williams does.
I've never
Oh,
seen
I've
it.
seen Aladdin. Oh, were you talking
Robin
about...
Williams.
Oh, the genie. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh.
My God. Ladies and gentlemen, did you hear that? She's so cute of a lemon tonight. I don't know what's going on.
She's
turned into a
if you had
teenager.
gone, give me some tassel or something like that, then I would have got it. But you chose a random line. It's just like, what?
The most famous song, You Ain't Never Had a Friend Like Me.
Yeah, but give me some tassel.
Another
Beats
Jungle
that
Book.
one. I have to do the little tassel thing.
No, that's not Jungle Book.
Is that a Jungle Book?
Anyway,
Jungle Book.
anyway, let's go back to the question that we started with. It's become more almost like a fashion at the moment to put the title of Djinn on just about anything. So what do we think of that in the paranormal field? Do people not, are they labeling it, or or what?
My two penneth, because I know that this is probably going to get Carl to go off on one, in which case I will be selling tickets for popcorn and deck chairs. I get so fed up with certain members of the paranormal community putting everything down as it was a demon or a djinn. Oh, djinns are demons, and demons are djinn. Just stop. Just because you can't figure something out does not mean it was a demon activity. Oh, God damn it, that cat farted at me. It's got a demon up its ass. No, it was nature.
Okay.
It really annoys me. It just annoys me so much.
That must be the first time in Dark Mirror history that Mark's had the first rant, apart from...
I just get so annoyed about
kind of muscling into my area of Rant City. No,
Nobody
I kind of agree with Mark as well, because I think it's like hashtag it's a demon. I think there's a lot of people out there that just lump it all into those certain brackets if they can't understand it, or they don't. Not can't understand it. If they don't know what it is, so they lump it into the hashtag it's a demon, hashtag it's the djinn.
However, we could be wrong. We could be wrong. Maybe it is down to the djinn.
Hang on. Before we go on any further, what do you call an extremely drunk djinn?
What?
What do you call a very drunk djinn? Yeah, Muhammad.
Oh, for goodness sakes. So anyway, what if we are wrong? Now, if we go back to the origins, we have to look... For God's sake. We have to look back at what we know about the origins of the jinn. Now, this is where the Islamic Muslim belief system comes into place. In the Quran, there is a book of the jinn in there. Now, they believe they were created out of flame or smoke before humans were actually made. So they're a different dimensional being that inhabit the same planet and they have powers that can affect this realm.
But at the end of the day, that's similar to the beliefs of when they talk about elementals that aren't human, but they exist from like the earth, wind, fire, or whatever. So the Quran is only sort of doing their own take on that area where you have the jinn that have come from a flame or whatever they want to call it.
But that's what they're saying, that all of these other things that we are calling different names all actually come back to one source, which is the jinn.
But it's word interpretation, isn't it? At the end of the day, the English language comes down to certain things that people in other faith languages call other things. It's the whole thing about, for instance, Santa Claus. In different cultures, Santa Claus is called something else. Doesn't mean it's a different entity. It just means it's the same sort of aspect of it. And that's why I think when it comes to the jinn, elementals or whatever, it's the same sort of belief, but it's just called a different name.
Exactly. But it all distills down to a different dimensional being being able to affect
you've got
our reality. Our dimension.
You've got evil jinns. You're supposed to have evil jinns, aren't you?
Well, what it is they're like a race, like us. So they get married,
but
they age, they have good traits and bad traits. They have different religions. Some of them are Muslim, some of them aren't. Do you know what I mean? They are just like us, except they can affect our world. So at the end of the day, if they're evolving
so you're talking parallel dimension.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of where I thought we might lead into.
So it links in with last week's show.
Well, it kind of.
Right, so basically...
does, but doesn't because of the angle you went.
If you've got an evil jinn, is his name Muhammad?
Oh, my God.
No, I'd say an evil jinn's when you've run out of tonic.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that is definitely one thing. So,
definitely.
But this is, I mean, honestly, this is like a thing. This is like a real thing that everything comes down to. These parallel creatures.
I've just had an idea, and this is serious.
Jinns and bad jinns and all that. which would explain a hell of a lot of phenomena away if it's all down to one thing.
It is bad.
Yeah.
I was going to say, and this is serious, there's no bad jokes or anything intended here. The way it says, indeed, we created man from dried clay of black smooth mud, and we created Djinn before that from the smokeless flame of fire. That sounds like some energy portal. Not alcohol. It's not gin. It's not like, oh, I'll have a rhubarb gin, please, love. No, it sounds, when you see energy crackling and flaring off from like an energy vortex or a doorway, that sounds a bit like that. That's what I think. And you're right, it links in with the parallel dimension thing.
It definitely does. That's the belief that they say that they're part of this reality, or they can cross into this reality, because they have powers as well. They have 3 powers. One of them is so they can cross the dimension. The second one is they can take on any physical form. So they can appear as anything, right? And phenomena that's been associated with this is things like shadow people and the black-eyed phenomena that we've got. Or
black-eyed peas?
Okay,
no,
just to give you an upside. Basically, you just described 3 traits of something else as well.
Well,
travel between dimensions, can take any form on, and the black-eyed thing. You could then basically bring that. You don't need to have it out of the Quran or anything like that. You bring that into the paranormal world, and people will say that's possibly a demon because they can take the form of it.
Hence why I said that at the beginning.
Yeah. So you can see the crossovers.
I just think demon is a different name for Djinn. I think that's just another one of those titling things.
It's the different faith systems that people have, whether they call it a demon, whether they call it the Djinn, whether they call it an elemental, or whatever you want to call it. You believe in things, and they're called the same thing. It's the same thing because kind of the devil or Lucifer or all the different names for the devil, he takes on any form he likes. He can cross dimensions. So you've got that thing in there, because at the end of the day, if you believe in heaven, you've got to believe in hell and all this sort of stuff. And if you believe in a good Djinn, there must be a bad Djinn. It's like the yin and yang in the Asian, in the Far East. And
never buy Tesco's own.
Bad, and etc. So yeah, it comes down to basically, no matter what faith belief you have, or what faith system, or what way you look at it, everybody from each of these faith beliefs will have something which they'll say is either the Djinn or angels.
Exactly.
Or hell, earth, whatever.
So it's just a perception then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of what these creatures are, but it doesn't lend weight to the argument that there possibly is another dimension that no matter what time you give it, can influence and affect this side of the dimension, as it were.
At the end of the day, if you're believing that something can move from, I'm gonna go with an easy one to talk about. If you can believe angels can come down from heaven and demons can come out of hell, you then got to believe that it's not like they're sitting next door in your house and they just come out and I've just come out of heaven. They come out number 76 next door. You're thinking that they've got to basically come out of a different dimension or a different portal or whatever you want to call it. So they cross over into that. It's the same thing about the Djinn. It's the same thing about angels and demons. They have to cross over. You look back at the Roman, the Greek mythology, when you've got gods coming down from Mount Olympus or whatever. They're basically god beings, and there's the bad people like Loki and all that sort of stuff. I'm just giving you scenarios.
Mixing mythologies, but it's all right.
No, I am mixing, but it's the same principle, because they have to cross over. And
I'm not disagreeing with you.
It's not like the places, like you say, you're in a middle terrace and one side's heaven, one side's hell, and then you come out and all of a sudden they open their front door and they're in ours. There's a different way of coming into it. So,
may I also point out that something that I've previously mentioned in a lot of shows is when you look at all the religious text timelines, you know where I'm going with this, all the major events that happen, and it doesn't matter what the religion is, all happen at the same time. And you've got angels, demons, Djinn, whatever you want to call them. And then you've got the legend of the Anunnaki, again, happen at the same time. Their battles happen at the same time as all the battles in the Bible. And they came from either...
These big events that are happening on our planet are happening to the Djinn too.
Yeah,
I'm not saying the Djinn are causing these. This isn't a God thing. This is a
I'm not
dimensional race that can affect ours. It's beyond. It's not as zoomed out.
That's not where I'm going with this. No, that's not.
Yeah, but that's obviously at the end of the day, the Djinn can act in various different faiths could be the same creature, entity, or whatever. So saying it's all about the Djinn, technically it's not, because if you don't believe in the Djinn, but you believe in something else, and it's called Big Bird or whatever you want to call it, in your faith belief, that you believe that the nasty thing is a big yellow bird called Big Bird, and that's technically the same sort of principle as the Djinn, you're going to believe that the Djinn's not real, but Big Bird is. So it has to come down to your faith belief.
But in every faith belief system, there is an entity.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what we're saying.
It's called different names.
But it's called different names. But angels are not the same as Djinn.
No,
they're not the same, because they are not subject to free will, which the Djinn are.
Yeah, they're the reverse of the coin.
You know, that's a different thing. That's a completely different thing.
Yeah. But it's like the old adage you say, if you believe in evil, you have to believe in good. And if you believe in heaven, you've got to believe in hell. Because you can't have
that got to do with a multidimensional being that's living the same as us but can affect our world? Because they're also good at possession too. They're not supposed to.
At the end of the day, if you have, like you say, if you have this being living in an alternate reality or an alternate dimension that is bad, there's obviously got to be a good version of it as well.
But they're like people. There are good ones, bad ones.
What's angels then? Because angels are
subject to the law of God.
Yeah, but they also
in that particular mythology.
But they also take on the form of humans.
Can I now speak, please?
No.
Shut your face. Right. What else? It's got anything to do with religion, really. Although you've got everything that happens on the same timeline with all the different religions, if you look at the other side, flip side of it, where the first recorded events of the Anunnaki, blah, 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 aliens, blah, 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 come from, again, that happens on the same time. And all these things talk about them appearing through energy doorways, this, that, and the other. So why couldn't it be interdimensional or from another dimension? You've got the technology to pop through to different dimensions and this, that, and the other. And if they're like us and free-spirited and free-thinking, you're going to get the nice ones who come from like Broadstairs and Kent, and then you're going to get the nasty ones who come from Birmingham, you know. So why can't you have the ones from Birmingham that try and take you over and the ones from Broadstairs who would like to grant for free wishes? Look at the poor people over there, you know.
Exactly.
And also, what does a genie who's actually a train conductor say? He says "Alabad." Anyway, carry on.
Are we just going to have really bad jokes that you're going to do?
I think that's where we're going with Mark tonight.
But as I come back to it, you just said obviously you've got these various different names and whatever they're coming from wherever. But at the end of the day, during history, during the creation of the world, there has always been, no matter what faith, no matter what gender, no matter where you've come from, your beliefs, whatever, you have the same scenarios cropping up in every single time.
Yeah.
That there is a bad and coming through. And so at the end of the day, do you guys believe whatever name they get called are the same thing?
This actually rings. my bell more
Can't be.
than a lot of the other explanations out there, because it
That's
does
it.
actually, it incorporates everything. When you look at every aspect of the paranormal that we encounter or we read about, or mythology, things like that, it kind of covers everything for me. And it also shows an evolution in regards to our cultural influences.
Yeah.
It shows that the Djinn are aware of those cultural influences
They evolved
and use
alongside.
those. And use those too,
You've
including
also
things like alien
got-
abduction.
It's the
Mark's breaking up really badly here.
one.
Carl? I can't hear
Yeah,
Mark.
I think Mark. I think we
Trans-
might have lost Mark a bit, but we'll keep talking, and then hopefully he'll come back.
Okay.
Oh, is he back? Is he back?
Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yes.
me?
You're still breaking up a little bit, Mark. But go for it.
Can hear me.
We can hear you, but you're breaking up an awful lot.
Right.
Carl, what was it you were going to say?
My transdimensional.
No, Mark, you're gone
Can't
again.
hear, yeah, sorry, honey, we can't hear
I
you.
haven't spoken. 1 minute.
And yet that bit was perfect.
Yeah, while Mark's sorting that out, it comes down to the same thing. Like I keep saying. Oh, is he back?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now, Mark. Go for it.
Right. Mark in the chat room said transdimensional beings neutral, being neither good nor evil. Maybe then they have no concept of good or evil. Very good question, very good point. But if they developed alongside us, even in a different dimension,
Yeah.
They're not neutral, though. They have good traits and bad traits. That's the point. They are the same as humans, but in a different dimension, but have different powers to humans.
Offer me.
That's exactly
Serious?
right. So they're not neutral.
There might be some though, because I mean, like in humans, you get nasty, good, and indifferent.
The Swiss.
That's true. Yeah, no, that's probably exactly. You're going to have some that want to cross the dimension, possibly, and cause trouble. You're going to get some that cross to try and counteract the trouble that the others have caused. You'll have some that are just existing in their own dimension, not wanting to cross over the dimension. That's kind of how I was seeing it. I mean, they marry, they have children, you know, they have baby Djinn, and, you know, that is the theology that it is. It's just a separate race. But like you say, what you're going to get is the naughty ones crossing over, and then the do-gooders coming over to try and counterbalance the trouble that these have caused. These multidimensional beings, these Djinn, right, as I say, it explains a hell of a lot in regards to other phenomena we experience, even down to alien abductions and stuff. And I love what I really like about it is how it's explained when they've crossed the dimension. They are looking for highly emotional states. So they're looking for an in because they need energy, and the higher emotional states give energy, which actually one of the reasons why there is such, when people have an encounter with something like a shadow man, the feelings it invokes are very similar to a lot of other phenomena that you receive.
Can I just ask you a little question about what you just said? Did you say that they have to be let in?
Like vampires.
As in being given permission?
No, what happens is they create a highly emotional state. So, like, if you
they create a situation and then they prey on that energy or whatever.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, but that sounds
like shadowmen. They are vampiric, energy vampiric.
I was just about to say that.
That also sounds so much like when people talk about demons.
Well, that's what we were saying, wasn't it?
That's what we're saying
in
about
other
the
cultures,
name. In other cultures, these things are still there. They're the same thing, but they're just being called something different.
Because when you look at like Japanese religion and mythology and stuff like that, some of their demons actually do good. Although they come from the same realm, you've got some that do good, some that are just complete nut jobs, and some that are, as you say, the Swiss.
Yeah, and just existing in their own little dimension.
Yeah, and one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was literally going to say,
Has he gone again, or has he just shut up?
A Djinn.
Oh, he's gone again.
Kerry, my internet's playing up as well now.
Oh my God! All the internet's going on. What's going on with our connection tonight? Now, Marcus said if you crossed over to there while they have a little sort out of their tech over there, if you crossed over to their dimension, would your behaviour be considered good or evil? That would depend on your actions. If we had that ability to cross over to their dimension, it would depend on your own personal actions. Don't forget, these things have free will, the same as we do. And they're subject to the Judgment Day as well. They will have to answer for their sins, as it were, on Judgment Day, the same as humans do. That's from the belief system, which makes it interesting because, like you say, humans are the same. If they're multifaceted personalities like humans, then you have got this, good, bad, the ugly, the ones that don't want to do anything and the ones that do. So the fact that they can influence the planet, our life, as I say, it kind of, when I started looking at this, I started with it's just like a type of elemental race. But when I actually started reading about it and whatnot, it really kind of fascinated me in the fact that you've got, they can affect our, and it does explain a heck of a lot. In fact, if not majority of it. If you want to look at it from a purely spiritual perspective, that is. Scientifically, we've explained some things. I don't know if you two are back with me.
Yeah, I've still got...
hello.
Oh, right, okay.
Hello.
I was just babbling because I didn't know if you was back.
No, I was listening to you. I think for every single... we talked about the onion theory and dimensional doorways and this, that and the other. I do not see why you haven't got certain dimensions, like in the Pratchett world, dungeon dimensions, where things live. And you've got good, bad and indifferent. And I don't see why that doesn't incorporate pretty much every single dimension, because everywhere you go, you got...
Well, I think
I completely agree with what Mark just said, though. I think...
But
you have different areas where these things live, and whether it's a alternate reality or they're just in our reality but we're not seeing them, or whatever, they're a shift in time, or whatever you want to call it. I can't see why you can't have these sort of things running around.
It is a completely different
into
theology compared to some of the other theologies, ideas, theories that we look at, because, you can look at it from one perspective, but then you can twist it and look at it from a completely different angle. And it kind of, for me, this one does explain it, but then I'm very more spiritually minded. I'm more likely to believe, me personally, I'm more likely to believe in myths and legends and gods and stuff like that than I would ancient alien theory. But then again, I think there is some weight to the ancient alien theory too. So it's a difficult one to call, isn't it? Because it's from a completely different angle on the same thing.
I think a lot of things are misidentification because of lack of knowledge back then. And a lot of things...
well, I think the Djinn are actually having a laugh with us tonight because the internets are all over the place.
I don't think it's susceptible to dimensional crossovers. I think if you're of a certain faith and you're very religious, you are going to be afraid of certain things like jinns and this, that, and the other, and you're going to think it's nasty or what.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, Mark. I think you, depending on your belief, and depending on what you believe. You don't have to be religious, because people that are non-religious can believe in alternate realities, etc., etc. So I don't think it comes down to a religious aspect. I think it just comes down to a theory ethos of how you believe we came about on this planet and how it interacts with the rest of the universe.
Be interesting if it did, though, wouldn't it? There is another dimension. It would explain so much if we could prove it.
Yeah.
Well, that woman, that professor's trying to prove it, isn't she? In North America, she said they've got proof that there is, because they've sent atoms there, and they're now trying to open up some sort of doorway with something similar to the CERN collider. Because that's what was going to be mentioned last week, but we ran out of time.
But doesn't that kind of scare you a little bit? Because
that scares me.
You know, if you can open up this portal, this doorway, or whatever you want to call it, but you don't know what's the other side.
Yeah.
Have you seen Stranger Things?
It's all theory. It's all. At the end of the day, it's all theory, assumption, belief. There's no factual information about what's on the other side of that doorway, so you could open it, and next thing, as I always do when we talk about these sort of subjects, we could then open the
doorway to hell.
We could open that.
We could open the doorway to Milton Keynes, for God's sake. That's terrible. We
could open that in Grand Central like Men in Black, where our universe is there, and then we've got these googly-eyed little things looking at us going, well, I'm just going to play marbles with your planet. or solar system. We don't know what's there, so that's kind of scary that they've said they've sent these atoms into another dimension, and they want to now try and open that dimension, because you don't know what's going to come through.
Well, the Djinn might do. They can do it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But if they... Yeah, but that's on their own rules.
That's on... Well, yeah, but then if we
start
disappearing over to their realm and start fiddling with stuff over there...
That's the bit you've got to... The thing is, we've never been able to do it. If we can do it, wow, what sort of havoc could we do?
Also, do you believe...
Like Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted, that would be awesome. Most excellent adventure. I think Mark's trying to talk.
I don't know. We're struggling tonight.
We are struggling tonight with old Marky Marks.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can sometimes.
Right.
And then you start and then you break up.
What I was trying to say is, do you believe that these trans-dimensional people, do you think they're energy beings? Because if they're energy beings, that would explain also a hell of a lot more.
Exactly. Well, that's what they would be, wouldn't it? Because they can be whatever they want to be. So they can appear as a fairy, or they can appear as an alien, or they can appear as a black shark. Or
that would explain so many carnivals in London. Yeah.
They can appear as literally anything they want. And they're creating a high emotional state. So the good ones will be looking for happy times and lovely things. And
some of the fairy do look for happy times, yes.
And some of the others, like the naughty ones, will be looking to cause trouble in regards to wars and stuff.
Well, there's a lot. There's the theories about the Nazis getting their rockets knowledge from alien intervention. There's a lot.
Carl, fill me in on this one.
What Mark's trying to say, he'll come back in a second. So it's about the Nazis got their rocket information about their rockets, their boosters, from not this planet, from aliens, basically. That's Mark will explain it a little bit better. Are you back, Mark?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Right. What I was trying to say was, you've got all this trans-dimensional, basically energy people can do this and the other. They can influence certain parties into influence the future, realms, planets, whatever. There's the all the alleged stories and conspiracy theories that go down with the Nazis developed their rocket technology and their flight capabilities and basically their weapon capabilities way in advance of the Allies, because they had alien intervention. They had alien help who came down and said, we will do this if you do this, this and this. And it's written down in a lot of different things.
Or
so
maybe maybe it isn't aliens. Maybe it is the Djinn that are... Like, that's just one of their masquerades because they've followed modern culture through.
What is it from different dimensions?
We'll wait for Mark a second. But the only thing about that, I would actually say something, that if the aliens or the Djinn or whatever helped out and gave ideas to the Nazis, as Kerry said earlier, about they liked the whole causing things to go on where there's a lot of energy and a lot of built excitement, etc. That could have been. And at the end of the day, if these are intelligent and they can see what's going on, wouldn't you thought they would have backed the winning team?
But that's where you've got the good and the evil battling it. It's almost like
but
even
mischief.
But even so, if you're an evil Djinn, you're going to have preconceptions of what actually happened.
What do you mean preconceptions of what actually happened? They're not future
because at the end of the day,
in the moment the same as we are.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, they're coming from an alternative dimension.
That doesn't necessarily give them future, like the possession.
You don't know that.
Future. No, but what I would say, the history would suggest so. If they have influenced world events, they've got no idea of the outcome. They're just out to cause mischief.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Do you see what I mean?
Oh, I agree with that statement about the mischief. If they're inclined towards the evil side of it, and they want to create mischief and mayhem, well, how are you going to do that? Well, let's side the nasty side. Hey, you've got so much power. Well, we're going to disappear. And then see what happens.
It comes down to another idea that obviously they say about the Djinn, but and I'm not talking about the film. I'm not talking about Don't Feed After Midnight, but there is belief about this whole thing about gremlins.
Yeah, no, they started off in the Second World War.
And during the Second World War, there was like propaganda. There was also cartoons. The Simpsons did a cartoon about it, where Bart sees this little creature.
About it.
Yeah, pulling out things to basically cause a crash or this, that, and the other. So they're trying to cause mischief. So there's that as well. I don't know.
Interlinks with
everything just like locks into between all the different names you want to call them, whether they are the Djinn, whether they are whether they are Big Bird and Groucho, whatever. You don't know. There's all these different names for these same things.
Even the Mothman.
Yeah,
link into this.
Exactly.
And the thing is with the Mothman, it's not just, right, around that case, there were other things that were being witnessed and phenomena as well. So they work as packs sometimes as well.
Yeah, because they're trying to cause as much mischief as possible.
Yeah,
if they're working towards their own ends, then and if it's an end that one on its own can't do, you're going to get or there may even be a hierarchy, like we have in government, like we have in the military and this, that, and the other. There might be a higher up one saying, do you know what? Let's go and do this. You and you, grab that, go and do that, shove it up his bottom. I don't know, something like that.
Exactly what we said. Go and abduct a load of cows and mutilate them. That'll really mess up with their nonsense.
Exactly.
Or let's put some flashy lights in the sky late at night over major cities and watch them freak out over that.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Because they can appear as anything they want to. So they can appear as glowing lights or strange mists or shadow men in whatever belief system they're pulling from at the time. They can do alien abduction. They can appear as folklore characters and mythological characters. They can appear as your next door neighbour, if they so wished, hence the doppelganger thing, right? They can appear as anything they want to.
So basically, these little so-and-sos, they're Loki.
Yeah, but again, Loki would appear in any other religion or any other legends
Mischief.
as a Djinn.
Yeah, mischief.
Yeah,
appear as anything they like.
Yeah, some argue that Loki
was
a Djinn, not that Djinn was Loki, if that makes
sense.
Yeah,
exactly.
There's a subtlety there.
It
puts it down to everything. Even possession. They can possess. They shouldn't. It's sort of against their law, apparently. But they do. They can do. And then we look at
you've
cases
got the evil ones
like,
that go too far.
This is the thing that makes me laugh about...
Look at Boris Johnson. I mean, flipping heck. If that's not an argument for possession, I don't know what is.
Yeah, exactly. But this is the thing that makes me laugh a bit, where you just said they're not allowed to take over people. Who says that?
I'm not quite sure where that's come from, except it's written in the scripture.
Exactly.
I don't know how they got to that conclusion.
It could be a little gym bloke writing down on a bit of sandcloth. Oh, but Chinese whispers. This'll screw them up. We can't do this. We can't do that. We do this. We do that. Oh, I tell you what, I'm going to throw this on. We're not really allowed to take
much like most
religions do occasionally.
Right, there is also, right, this one's going to get you going then, if you thought that was going to get you going. They are able to have emotion. So they have, like, love. They can fall in love with you on this plane. And you can enter into a marriage, but they're very jealous. So you can't upset them, so you have to treat them right. You're a Djinn lover. But when we talk about...
Bloody.
But, right, they're talking about it in those terms. But we see cases like... I had sex with a 300-year-old pirate.
No. I've just realised something. They're from different dimension. They're energy, this, that, and the other. If they're going to have sex with you, A, how would you know? B, would you suddenly become very tired and go, what the hell happened?
No, we've discussed this before.
Wouldn't that be the cases of incubus and succubus, then?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it explains that too.
But a succubus, would her stripper name be Yassine Mammoth? But that's another show. I got that one in there. Boom! Drops the mic!
Oh, my God. But yes, it explains all of those kind of phenomena. All under the guise of one entity, race.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at Carl's face.
Are we liking this?
They're a bunch of bastards.
Yes, we are. Because every single show we've done is all linking in. Every single show we've done is linking in to the Djinn. And the Djinn is turning into everybody's perception in different religions.
And all I'm saying then is I'm dropping the mic and walking out the room. It's made a lot of sense to me in regards to looking at it from a paranormal perspective and a belief system perspective as well. Because, Carl, at the end of the day, we're right. We're talking... a lot of theories, we have no proof of this. People would argue that there is proof of the effects that are, and it's actually the effects, which is exactly the same in the paranormal field. When we report something, we're reporting the effect of something. We still don't know what caused the effect in the first place.
Energy, it works on a different frequency. I've always said that.
Energy, frequency, and vibration, correct? Yeah. So until we get that frequency or that vibration right, and I agree, they're totally energy beings, particularly when they cross over into ours. That's how I would see it. But they do. It makes a lot of sense to me. Is what I would say on this.
Pretty much all the shows we've done are linking in, and including the alien stuff, because there's the alien link that's in the Quran, and I've also found the alien link about the 7 planets in the Quran. So, and they talk about the Djinn, who are the only ones who can interact with us, because the others are sealed off. The Djinn, people.
Oh, and he's gone again.
Everything
I'm sorry.
Is people. Oh, okay.
Oh dear. No, I can't. Or we can catch that bit. Stitch bits. That's all we could hear, isn't that, Carl? We could only hear snatches of that.
We're literally, Mark, you start talking normally, and then all of a sudden you go into Norman Collier on speed, and then all of a sudden you freeze.
All right, 1 minute.
Okay, so Carl, where are you at with this now?
I think, personally, like I am on most subjects, I'm sitting on the fence getting splinters up my bum. I don't know.
But it does seem to make a lot of sense, doesn't it?
The thing is, because it comes down to your belief system. It comes down to, as you say, you as a spiritual person that talks to rocks and talks to this, that.
Every week.
You know what I mean?
Every week.
you're in tune with the that sort of side of the industry. From my point of view, I've seen it, I've looked at it, I've done it. I'm like, okay, I don't kind of understand what you do, but I'm never going to poo-poo it. So I'm sort of sat on the fence looking at... Hang on, Mark, I'm bloody well talking. Mr. Norman Collier, shut it a second. But I know I'm sitting on the fence. I'm looking at both sides of it, and I can see both points of view from it. So I can see where the pros and the cons and everything like that comes from. Whether I understand it, whether I believe that there is, whether I can get my head around there's these people that pop in and cause havoc, that basically World War One, World War Two, nuclear Cold War, wars, death, and everything. Whether they're just for the hell of it because they like the mischief and they like the energy that is caused from it, I don't know. I don't know. Right, Mark? Go on.
Do you... I was just... Oh, go ahead. Guy. Things, as we were saying...
Mark is going again.
I think he's got a Djinn in his house. Because
do you know
all over the show.
Isn't it Djinn?
It's actually quite entertaining, just trying to work out what he's saying.
He sounds like he's drunk to be truthful.
I said, isn't it obscure?
Hangman.
Isn't it obscure that we're doing a show on Djinn and my internet's gone? Do you know what stuff here? The whole way through it.
Or Mark, on the flip side, it could be, as you were saying earlier, the blokes that resurfaced your road that was fiddling around with
they stuffed it up.
Exactly. It could simply be that. Or it could be, like Mark says, the Djinn influence on things. Now, at this point, I kind of feel it's important to have a little talk about the Dybbuk box. Right, now this is a Dybbuk, which is a different mythology completely. This is from the Jewish side of things. But basically...
conservatory.
They're equivalent beings. Now, when I was reading about this, it's very questionable, the old Dybbuk box history, isn't it?
Well, it depends on which history of the Dybbuk box you look at.
Well, the one I was looking at mainly was the famous one, which was the one that got sold on eBay.
Yeah, where they basically they put something in it. You have to be a practicing Jew.
This wasn't made by practicing Jews. This was made by two sisters.
Then it's not the proper. That's not the official word of the Dybbuk box.
But do you not think there's been a huge resurgence of these
Dybbuk
boxes recently?
You look at films nowadays.
It's all to do with an attachment. That's the difference. That's why it's different, because the Djinn are called the hidden ones, whereas Dybbuks, you attach to something. You trap them in something.
I believe that there are proper Dybbuk boxes, none of these £5.55 in a packet of Smarties you buy off eBay, where somebody basically just got a load of wax and gone crazy over it, and here we go, we'll flog it to some YouTube videos. I'm going to open a Dybbuk box when it's just a cigarette box. It has to be a certain type. These people that buy Dybbuk boxes and it's like a modern box.
It's crazy.
It's crazy because it doesn't. A proper Dybbuk box has to be a certain design, a certain material, the way it's sealed, what goes in it, etc., etc., etc.
But Dybbuk books attach to people, not things. Thank you, Andy M. in the chat room.
But
so they're not going to attach to a box.
They are then banished into these boxes.
Would you bash your great grandma into a box?
Depends what she's done. If she's been a naughty girl, possibly.
They're incarnate spirits that attach to others.
Can you actually hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. I've just had an idea, right? And bear with me on this one. You've got people who are, as Carl said, getting boxes and going, oh, look at me, my Parkinson's is shaking this wax everywhere. And they're doing that and they're selling it to gullible people. have they been influenced by the naughty Djinn?
No, they've been influenced by the modern culture of people wanting likes on modern day culture, which is a modern day thing that is big at the moment because it's on films, it's on this, that, and the other. So they know if they do it on YouTube, they're going to get likes, and this is the whole horrible thing about. I'm going to go into a bit of a rant, so bear with me.
Oh, popcorn time!
There we go.
Yeah, we should have a siren going. I'll rant. It's this whole thing about social media and people wanting likes. I'm going to do this. It's modern day culture. Let's pick something that was very popular at the moment. People like doing overnight challenges. People like not breaking into, but hiding in and doing silly things on top of buildings. Or let's look at the Annabelle doll. So everybody's got an Annabelle doll. Everybody's got this, that, and this. But they make the video. It's all about likes. It's all about this whole self-esteem that the more likes I get, the more I've done a great video. No, get away from that. Do your own thing. Forget whether you get any likes. Forget whatever. Just do what you want to do. Produce it. Put it out there. People will watch it. They're great. Don't do stuff because I tell you what, I'm going to do something. I'm going to get so many likes for this because it's up to the minute and everybody's going to watch it. No, sod off. That's brainless morons.
I've got an idea.
Yeah.
I think the next time you lot are over, we should make one.
No, I we'll do you two things.
And then we'll sell it.
You can make one. I'll go on the web and I'll buy one.
That would be funny.
And we'll do a live about opening a fake Dybbuk box off eBay. And if my head suddenly twists around and I've got pea soup coming out my ears...
You'll be cleaning it up, is all I'm saying. If you're in my house, you'll be cleaning it up.
That's the thing.
I don't care what demonic possession you've got; it will be a clean demonic possession.
Exactly. As long as we're getting likes.
Is Mark with us, or has he dropped completely?
I don't know. He seems to be.
I'm here.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
I tell you what, you were sounding more like the Horizon advert in America. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Can anybody hear me?
That's for our American listeners, that joke.
Kerry, can you come to my house? Kerry, come to my house, get down on your knees and pretend you're tiny. That's in a very... Oh, actually, no, sod it, get down on your knees anyway. But can you come in and go, this house has been cleansed? Please, I appear to have the genies in my laptop.
For a moment there, I wondered where you were going, whether you come to my house and get down on your knees. I was worried a little bit there. I was like, what? Where is it going with this thought?
These
well,
two,
M's
with
up
the
for that.
seem to think I make films in my bedroom purely because of where my laptop is stationed. But
you know
if you
what?
can see
That sounds like a plan, though. Opening it, buying a Dybbuk box and then opening it.
Yeah.
That sounds like we'd have to be together.
This way, I'm going to buy a cheap. But I'm going to buy a cheap Dybbuk box off eBay. I'm not going to buy thousands and thousands of pounds because potentially that could be a proper Dybbuk box. And I'm not opening it. I'm not opening the portal to hell. I've seen Rangers of the Lost Ark. I don't want to disappear in the sand like the Nazis did and all that stuff.
No, it's okay because what we'll do is we'll befriend somebody that can exorcise the Dybbuk.
It's too late once you've opened it and your head's disintegrating
it. So is it a belief that's creating the bad luck that are surrounded by these boxes? We have to ask that question. Obviously,
I think belief screws up a lot of people, and belief is blamed for things we just don't understand. And I think once we start understanding those things, and I'm sorry if you are of faith, if you are religious, that's your thing, and I'm not going to go into that because that's your thing, and if that's what you believe in, fine. But I do think that faith uses demons and stuff as a way of controlling people, or just pigeonholing things we just don't understand yet. And when we do understand them and we can start to interact, probably, because I'm damn sure you've got some Djinn, whatever, interdimensional beings that listen to us and can understand us and are intelligent and don't want to blow the world up. Once they start interacting with us, they're going to be like, yeah, do you know what, mate? They've been saying we're demons for years. Oh, do you know what I mean? It's terrible.
That's the longest monologue we got out of you tonight.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Without breaking up. But Mark is right. Religion, faith.
It's to blame for
I'm going to be very controversial here. Religion and faith has caused so many problems. And as I say, I don't knock anybody for their belief system, their faith, their religion. But if you look at it in documented evidence, written evidence through the ages, probably every single war, every single trouble has always come down to one thing, and that's
religion is to blame for most wars and wars over money.
And Mark's exactly right. Each religion has these things which they try and use to control. If you do that, the boogeyman will come.
But that's the human thing. Maybe they are blaming the Djinn for all the bad stuff. Who knows?
Yeah, but it's also...
But it's all right, because when we open our Dybbuk box, Andy can give us the correct incantations to dispel one. A Dybbuk, that is.
I'm sorry, we have got to do it. We were talking about this last week, weren't we? Once when we finished the show, we were talking about Dybbuk boxes and how all these people are going online and go, do you know what? I'm going to sprinkle different coloured wax on this box and sell it to some fool who thinks it's real.
This is because we were talking about, we're going to be doing a show on the haunted eBay, is actually what we're going to be doing. And we're going to be spending the week having a look at what we can get that's allegedly haunted.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want autographs, do it now before we all get blown up. Right.
We're going to have a little mooch around and see what's what, and then have a little talk about haunted eBay. Anyway, guys, so, see, you wasn't very interested in this topic before we began, but you kind of got quite excited about this.
It interacts everything. So many shows that we have talked about, so many different things.
Carl?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with old Norman Collier in the corner there. That breaks up. I believe everything that we talk about and everything that all the shows that we will come. It's like they say about the string theory. Everything is linked in like string, like a spaghetti. And I think that's what we're discussing now. Is we're talking kind of like the string theory of the paranormal, where everything potentially links into everything else via different strands or events, different theories and beliefs, where you can suddenly, if you look at it as like you take a huge big step back, go and sit with a Rastafarian alien sitting on the moon. Their 50th year anniversary party that's going to happen shortly. And you look, you take a big step back and you sit down and you take a bit of puff on the old Rastafarian moon dust, and you look at it and you think, yeah, everything is entwined in its own little ways.
It certainly is. And on that note, we have actually come to the end of the show. Can we get Mark in for the last one?
Just click like, share, and subscribe, everybody, because we need to be getting out there, getting the masses, and getting the autographs out before we open these boxes and Carl's ears fall off. All right?
And I would just like to say, we're not asking for likes, because we're not that type of station that we ask for likes. Likes is a kind of it'd be a very silly thing, because at the end of the day, we do it because we love the show. We're not here to be liked. We're just here to do a very good show.
Well, Carl doesn't like me, evidently, because he smells. But that's beside the point.
Anyway, on that note, let's say goodnight, guys.
I've thoroughly enjoyed the show. Brilliant show. Thank you very much. Good night, guys. And oh my God, Slenderman's coming on through the wall to actually slap me one. Carl, take over, please, mate. I can't deal with this.
While Mark handles his Slenderman coming through the window to take him, roughly from behind. I'd say thank you very much. It's been a very, very interesting show. You've had your moment, Mark. Shut up. It's my time now. Thanks a lot. It's been a very good show.
Oh, get rid of
We will see you next week.
Next
Kerry,
week we are
Kerry,
talking.
what are we talking about next week?
We are talking about the Anunnaki next week.
aliens!
And on that note, we bid you a very farewell. Good night.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.